Most of us spend our working lives standing on a ledge. You rely on a single paycheck from a single employer, and you're under constant pressure to keep it secure. We're told that to escape this trap and build wealth, we have to leap. That financial freedom requires quitting your stable job, draining your savings, and risking everything on a startup. But there is an alternative. It's a method for creating independent streams of income without ever handing in your 2 weeks' notice. You don't need a cutting-edge invention or an idea no one has ever heard of. In fact, trying to reinvent the wheel usually slows you down. Right now, ordinary people are building significant secondary incomes in plain sight. They aren't relying on genius. They are relying on a set of proven, repeatable blueprints. Achieving financial independence is a matter of identifying your current constraints, your time, your skills, your capital, and selecting the specific blueprint designed to bypass them. The first blueprint requires zero new training. You don't go back to college, you simply audit the knowledge you already possess. Take Theresa. She was struggling financially, relying on food stamps to get by, but she knew how to bake. By turning that existing, everyday skill into a side business, she generated $86,000 in a single year, enough to quit her part-time job and buy her first home. Another variation on this blueprint involves monetizing niche interests. Nicole was interested in urban beekeeping. Instead of keeping bees as a private hobby, she packaged that niche knowledge into a service for others. Looking at her business model, clients pay $600 for a hive. She takes a 35% cut of the honey. Across 70 hives, she clears over $7,000 a month. By teaching and maintaining, she engineered multiple recurring revenue streams. When you map out the things you already know how to do, you bypass the learning curve entirely. It is the lowest friction entry point to generating income. The second blueprint relies on an ancient business model, buying a good at one price and selling it at a higher one. Today, the internet has removed the physical limitations from that equation. Through a system called print on demand, you can design a product digitally, and a manufacturer only prints and ships the physical item after a customer has already paid for it. An artist named Mark used this blueprint to adapt his existing portfolio. He already had an audience that loved his distinctive, whimsical illustrations. He didn't have to invent a new style or guess what people might buy. He took the drawings of rainbows and cats that he was already known for and mapped them onto phone cases. Looking at his strategy summary, the critical factor was complete delegation. By handing over the sales, production, and shipping to a third-party platform, he generated revenue with very little day-to-day effort. Modern arbitrage doesn't require you to stack physical boxes in your garage. It's about finding a profit margin and using automated platforms to handle the friction of delivery. The third blueprint focuses on creating systems that generate income even when you aren't actively working. The obvious barrier here is schedule constraints. When you are already working 40 hours a week and managing a household, finding time to build a business from scratch feels impossible. You don't need uninterrupted free time. You just need to capture the hidden pockets. We all have 10-minute windows, waiting at the bank or riding the bus. By keeping a list of microtasks for these downtimes, those isolated moments compound into fully launched projects. A side hustler named Matt used exactly this method. By chipping away at his ideas in the margins of his day, he systematically built 2 different niche brands that generated enough profit to replace his entire full-time salary. Automation begins long before the money rolls in. It begins by organizing your daily downtime so that every spare minute builds forward momentum. Once these systems are running, some projects enter what is known as the ramp-up phase. A small hustle designed for extra cash can rapidly outgrow its original purpose. Reviewing the top tier of these projects reveals serious scale. A Chicago woman making Etsy-inspired lighting, or a tea sommelier reselling leaves. These are operations producing 6 or even 7 figures in annual income. But scaling into a massive empire is an option, not a requirement. A successful side project doesn't have to make you a millionaire to provide security. For Matt, the income mattered because it proved he was no longer strictly dependent on his employer for his livelihood. This secondary income creates a safety net. Matt describes it as the empowerment of knowing that while you may choose to work your day job, you no longer have to if you don't want to. It shifts the control over your life back to you. So don't wait for a flawless idea to fall into your lap. Look at the skills you already have, pick a blueprint, and start building your own leverage today.